Well, hello there. Are you lost? Better come with me. I will lead you through these dark woods. Trust me. The terror draws near. Foul things everywhere. Creeping things emerge. Entities of evil surround No need to fear. Trust me. Don't worry, traveler. You have nothing to fear. For here, there is nothing but fear. Welcome to Nothing But Fear, the place where the moon laughs cruelly down upon us in this forest of horror, the place where your fears are exposed. Ah, yes, you have all returned. It appears our campfire stories about campfire stories were enough to draw you back to the flame like... No, I was not about to say moths. Even I am far too tolerant to label my listeners. Much. No anthro bugs or Godzilla vs. Mothra here tonight. Only evil crickets who stay just outside the glow of the fire. Who needs moths when we have them? But first, let me get the fire started. There we go. As I'm sure you noticed prior to coming here this evening, tonight's stories all concern that ubiquitous social media site, Twitter. The reason for this, of course, is that June 2018 stands as the month my Twitter account crossed 500 followers. Naturally, I figured what better way to celebrate. I still can't believe so many of you have joined my horrific little nest. It's truly been a slow but worthwhile climb since I started the account in May 2016, and it reminds me of the simple importance of connecting with other people to share in the world of horror fiction. Before we begin with episode 2 of season 2, I suppose we'd all better tweet something. I mean, it wouldn't be a Twitter episode without those, now would it? In fact, how about this? During the episode, or whenever you happen to stop by, why don't you tweet me while you listen? I love hearing from my fans. Tweet to @DanielsonHorror with the hashtag #NothingButFear and tell me something horrific, or why you listen. Now, phones at the ready, then let us begin with our first story, a true account of Twitter terror. Crazy Twitter Encounter by Snore Baby. I've been reading these stories for a while, and man, there are some crazies out there. My crazy story, thankfully, isn't as horrible as some of those I've read here, but it was still pretty weird. Just for background, I'm a girl, early 20s, and this happened last year. I have a Twitter account, which I kept private, as in I'd have to approve followers before they could see my tweets. I didn't have a whole lot of followers, and I'd approve people who were friends of friends, etc., which I probably shouldn't have done. But anyway, I approved this one girl, Mary, to follow me, and I followed her back. Mary was really into Twitter. She'd tweet every 5 minutes, foursquare her every location, like she'd check into roads and streets, and she'd tweet every song she was listening to, what she was currently watching, etc. It got annoying very quickly, as my entire feed was comprised of Mary's activities. Because I didn't know her personally, and hardly interacted with her anyway, I unfollowed her. Shortly after that, I heard from friends that she was tweeting about me, making fun of my username, my description, etc. It was very strange, but I shrugged it off as her being hurt that she lost a follower. I conclude now that she was very dependent on online activities to feel good about herself. A few days later, a friend messaged me asking me about my new Twitter account, to which I replied, "What?" Turns out, someone had made a Twitter account using my picture, a weird version of my name, and a twisted version of my username. They even used the same name and background, which they would have had to search very hard for, as it was not easy for me to find them. On this account, they posted a lot of my personal information, from where I lived to my dog's name. I tweeted something like, "Thanks, Mary, for that parody account," and the crazy girl kept insisting that I made this account to frame her. I ended up having to email Twitter to get it down, which they thankfully did. I really didn't want all that personal info out there. I heard later that she was obsessed with me and would tweet about me if she saw me anywhere, like at concerts or at our uni. I never met her IRL, thank God. After that, I cleaned up all my accounts, deleted a lot of Twitter that contained personal info, and blocked a lot of people. I thought that because I didn't accept strange guys on my accounts, that I'd be safe. But apparently, girls can be crazy obsessive too. Though we've all had friends like Mary making our Twitter experience interesting, I don't think any of us has endured all of that. Ghost account, sharing private data, stalk a follower who denies it. Or perhaps some of you have. If so, let me know in the comments of this episode, or tweet me using the hashtag #IWasStalkedToo to @Danielson.horror. Not that I'm encouraging you to stalk me, or am I? Before I let you make up your minds about that one, let's tell our next story. Another true account of Twitter madness, somewhat darker than the rest. Twitter Creeper by Twitter Creeper. So, when I was about 13 or 14, Twitter was the up-and-coming social network, and I had just made myself an account to see if it was all it was being jacked up to be. I got a few followers, followed a few friends and celebs, etc. All was good, until this guy started following me. I assumed all was legit, just one of those people that you get linked to randomly when you first sign up. I didn't follow him back, cause he was a few years older than me. In my profile pic at the time, I was clearly 13 or so, and my typical teenager tweets conveyed the same thing. I thought nothing more of it, until a few days later, when he directed a message at me, asking me to join him on MSN. He said he liked my picture, thought I was very beautiful, and all this BS. Being the insecure girl I was at that age, I added him the same day, and we started chatting. He told me about how he was 19 or 20, like I thought, but was in fact in his 30s, and had a wife and child, and a full-time job in India where he lives. Now, things were just starting to seem odd to me, but he said nothing harmful. We were just talking about hobbies and stuff. Then it started to get more strange. He started to ask me if I had a boyfriend, and I told him no, and then he asked me if I liked boys at the moment. I said no, that I had a crush on one girl in my year at school. That caught his interest right away. He started asking me about all these things like, what do you like about women? And because I was still oblivious to anything dodgy, I just said something like, I like her personalities more, and so on. Then he said, but what about the legs? And at this point, I got very uncomfortable, and I said, I guess so, and I have to go offline now, 'cause it's getting late. I didn't go online for a few days, and when I got back, I saw he had left loads of messages to me, saying things like, are you there? I need to talk. I messaged him back, asking what was so important, and he said that he had got into a fight with his wife or something. Then, about 5 minutes later, he said that he needed to go, 'cause if his wife knew he was talking to me, she'd kill him. And then he quickly told me how pretty I looked in my new MSN pic, and went offline. I was freaking out at this point, so I blocked him on MSN. The next day, he tweeted me, asking why I deleted him. Did I not like him anymore? He thought I was pretty, and all this creepy nonsense. After that, I blocked him on Twitter, and created a new account just to be safe. This isn't as creepy as some of the things on here, but it really freaked me out. Thinking back on it, I was so stupid to talk to him in the first place, as he was so much older than me, and he was asking things that, frankly, were inappropriate for anyone to be asking, let alone an adult to a 13-year-old child. I never told anyone about it, because it ended so quickly, but if I'd been more stupid and let it go on any longer, it might have gotten much worse. I just hope no other girls were coerced into giving him anything. In all honesty, that was rather chilling. Made worse, I think, because it was confirmed true by the author. Unfortunately, though most of us enjoy Twitter for its intended purpose, there are some disturbingly dark people out there. I think I can speak for us all when I say it would be a pleasure to grab all such people and make them permanent residents of Castle Danielson's dungeon. Speaking of Twitter creeps, the good kind of course, I encourage you this episode to tweet me while you listen. Remember to tweet at Danielson Horror using the hashtag #NothingButFear and share your thoughts. Now, on to our next story, friends. We depart the realm of the real and enter the world of fantasy crafted by Dom the Creator 14 in his popular story, How a Single Twitter Message Can Really Screw Your Night Up. Aside, I'm sure we've all been there. Some of you may recognize me, but I also have a deal with Thought Catalog, where I post my stories on NoSleep. Then they are transitioned onto their website, so they can get more exposure. Last night, I was working on a new story in my room. It had been an extremely long day. I spent most of it at the Taste of Syracuse, so I already felt like crap. I honestly felt like I had a weight in my stomach. I was listening to music. A lot of my stories come from inspiration while I am listening to music, on shuffle. Suddenly I received a message on Twitter. Before I even clicked on the message, I looked up the person. She seemed like an average teenage girl. 1,300 tweets, 200 following, and 500 followers, so I knew it wasn't some random creep. First exchange. You write scary stories? Yes, I do. Thank you for taking the time to read them. Are any of them real? No, but they're convincing, right? I was very flattered that this girl took the time to contact me. You'd actually be surprised at how a message like this can affect somebody's day. You'd also be surprised at how many people think that some of my stories are real. I had somebody tell me that a story was freaking out a lot of people because I set it in their town. There was also a wicked bad thunderstorm last night, so when I heard what sounded like someone moving a chair on my back porch, I didn't think anything of it. I was too in the zone on my new story, so I jumped a little when the girl finally responded back. Second exchange. I have an idea for a scary story. I don't really take requests, but I'm open to it. Shoot. I felt bad. I really didn't like to write someone else's ideas because I want to be an original writer, but I didn't want to scare away an actual fan. They're rare in what I do, so I acted like I would consider it. It was at this time that I heard scraping sounds coming from my basement. My basement is set up like a small apartment, so it's not normal to hear some random noises. Old basements are famous for creaking noises. It sounded like someone was in the game room, running their nails across the wall. I paused my music and ran to the basement. It was pitch black in there, so my heart was racing as the lights finally flickered on. Nope, nobody. There were no scratches on the wall either. So I sat down on the game room couch, opened my phone notes, and resumed brainstorming. I didn't bring my iPod downstairs, though. I don't have my music on my iPhone for storage reasons. So again, I nearly crapped myself when the girl finally responded. Third exchange. A girl kills herself because a boy doesn't love her, so she haunts him. Well, I haven't really done many ghost stories, so that could actually work. This was becoming worse. I try to stay away from ghost stories. I'm not saying that my stories are rooted in realism, but I'm just not good at writing classic ghost stories. But I didn't have the heart to tell her. Now, at this time, I could have sworn I heard my back door open. It's a sliding glass door, so the sound is pretty distinct. I put my phone in my pocket and ran upstairs. My back door was fully closed, but I did notice a wet spot right in front of the door. I really wished that my dogs were home with me at that point. I also got this weird I'm being watched feeling as I looked at the minuscule puddle. Things began to feel odd. Everything in my house was normal, but the atmosphere within my house changed. Even though I had no reason to, I froze in fear. I hesitated to turn away from the puddle, but when I finally did, there was the Twitter message sound. Damn it. I actually really jumped this time. I sat down at the table in the sunroom before I opened Twitter. Fourth exchange. 10. Huh? 987654. Are you alright? Okay, so I finally realized that this girl was pretty weird. I thought she was harmless, but I also thought she was one of those girls that would scour the internet, read some weird creepypastas, and would try to pitch a scary idea to a writer she could contact. So now, I really didn't want to seem like a jerk, so I said that, hoping she would end her "LOL, I'm creepy" stuff. But as soon as I responded, crap hit the fan. I heard my bathroom door, which is in the hallway where my bedroom is, close. When I last saw it, it was open enough that a small draft shouldn't have been able to close it. I hopped out of my chair and ran to the bathroom. If someone ever did break into my house, my plan was to act crazy as intimidation. So I flung my bathroom door open, began to scream, and pulled my shower curtain aside. Nobody was there. "Hey!" Oh my God. I nearly fell in the shower. I heard someone yelp that from the basement, but this time it sounded like it was from the laundry room. The voice sounded weird, like a young girl trying to imitate a guy with a deep voice. Still playing the crazy card, I screamed louder and ran downstairs, but I stopped in my tracks as I opened the basement door. My brother's old FSU hat sat in the doorway. I have talked about it before, but I lost my brother last year. I got hit with this depressing feeling and sat on the stairs. I kept thinking about that weird countdown. Now, I'm no hardcore spiritual man, but I wasn't thinking straight when I sent that girl this. Wow, I'm not even kidding you. Some weird stuff is happening at my house. Is that you? 3, 2, 1. Blast off? As soon as I sent that, it was like the gates of hell opened within my house. I first heard my bathroom door open. Heavy footsteps into the kitchen followed. Then it sounded like someone climbing into my breakfast bar. "Open your heart." I heard the same exact voice singing that upstairs. This time, I actually was frozen in fear. The voice kept singing that same line over and over again for a good 3 minutes. I leaned against the washing machine with my hands over my eyes. Finally, when the silence came, I slightly uncovered my left eye. Peering from around the corner, I finally saw her. She had pale skin, one eye, the other was just a grotesque socket, and straw-like blonde hair. "Hi." I turned to my left and sprinted towards the door in the storage room. The door led to the garage. I didn't even feel like I was in control of my body. I knew I was screaming, but I didn't feel like I was doing it. The door was unlocked, but I couldn't turn the knob, like someone was holding it from the other side. I heard light footsteps walk upstairs, and finally someone plopped down on my couch. Even though I was sobbing, I at least knew that whatever it was wasn't near me. I quickly whipped out my phone and dialed 911. 6th exchange. "I'm calling the police." That right there is a picture of my cabinet in my kitchen. It was taken from the perspective of someone sitting on my couch. I stupidly clicked on her profile again. This caused my phone to glitch out. I tried to go home and call the police, but my phone was frozen. I then heard her get off my couch, and she began to move around my living room. It sounded like she was running in a circle. Now, I don't know why I did it. I blame it on adrenaline. But I walked out of the storage room and began walking towards the basement door. This was such a bad idea, because as soon as I hit the laundry room, every light in the house shut off. After fiddling with 2 light switches, I gave up and grabbed a flashlight I keep in the laundry room, since my phone was still frozen. I turned around only to be hit in the face by something. I assumed I was finally being attacked, so I started throwing punches, kicks, and swung my flashlight around. But I was only hitting air. I pointed my flashlight down to see what hit me. It was a black and white notebook. I bent down to pick it up. Twitter beep. My phone was finally unfrozen. Write it in. Please leave me alone. Write me a story. A scary one. I was more aggravated and scared at this point. I ran upstairs only to see things in my living room and kitchen fall over. A picture frame flew at me, so I ducked, but when I looked back, I finally got to see her again. She was wearing a blood-stained white hoodie, a tattered shirt, and cowboy boots. I took my eyes off her for a second, and she was gone. That's when my iPod turned on in my room. Metallica was playing. I tried to get out through the front door, but the same thing that happened with the garage door happened. So instead, I ran to the basement and fell onto the floor. Hey! She sounded like she was next to me, so I swung towards the sound. It was pitch black. Hey! This time, I heard it from behind the closed door. I chucked my phone at it. Then I heard a barrage of hey, like someone was spamming me with it. I covered my ears and began screaming, but then I heard my front door open and slam shut. Then, silence. All the lights in the house turned back on. Twitter bloop. I scurried to my phone. She had sent a message while I was being barraged with haze, but I must not have heard it. Nothing else matters. Where the heck are you? Gone. Goodbye, DJ. What really got me about this one is that DJ was a nickname I had in high school. I now just go by Dominic Reppy, but I sighed in relief, even though I didn't know I was fully safe. The atmosphere from before was gone. I went on a spree of screenshotting out our conversation in case it somehow got deleted, and finally called the cops. Once the cops got there, I explained to the officers what happened, and even showed them the screenshots. But when I tried to click on her profile, it was gone. Even though there was no sign of forced entry, they took an hour looking over things because everything was all over the place. Sadly, nothing came of it, except for some advice on getting a lawyer. I'm sorry I took so long to post this. I wanted to make sure that nothing else would happen today. It didn't. I contacted my parents. They're coming home, and I needed some time to just calm down. I don't know what happened. I don't know why I was targeted, and that makes the whole experience even more horrifying to me. I truly hope this doesn't happen to anyone else again. Thank you, friends, for joining me for this free episode of Nothing But Fear. It's been my wicked pleasure. Remember, if you'd like to hear the full episodes in their pristine, unabridged glory, make sure to visit my Patreon and join the Seeker tier. Links always in the description. Or if not, keep tuning in each month for the free episodes and satisfy your Campfire horror story hunger. Make sure you keep a weather eye on your digital mailboxes and social media for my next invitation to Season 2, Episode 3 of Nothing But Fear. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow my Twitter if you haven't yet for even more horror. Also, thanks to all those who joined in tweeting me while listening with the hashtag NothingButFear. I'm glad you were able to get your tweets in then, because I suspect after hearing these stories, your Twitter enthusiasms may cool somewhat. You may even begin looking over your shoulder for the stalkers lurking behind you. The only thing I can recommend, find vampiric birds. It's rumored their tweets can be bloody deadly. Till next time, listeners. Forgive me if I haven't allayed what dread you brought with you into this wood. Not that there is much I can do about it anyway. For here, there is nothing but fear.